Do you want to introduce it or do you want me to introduce you?
Oh, that's my son. I cannot answer that. Sorry about that. Are we?
Okay, so this is the launch of the Yiddish Dictionary, which has been worked on by lots of women in this group, called the Alibi group. Local Jewish people have got together to compile this dictionary. This is Steven Pearlman. He's going to be introducing it and doing a little show. And this is Denise, who is our human Yiddish dictionary. So if anybody doesn't know how to pronounce anything, wants to know any words, wants any swear words, anything like that, just ask Denise, she knows it all. So without further ado, off we go.
Thank you, Steve. Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to this fantastic project. I don't know what we call it, but I'm excited to be part of it, and I was asked to present this. I'm not sure if it's a show. That might build up expectations too much.
It's a show.
Presentation about Yiddish. Don't claim to be an expert, just an enthusiastic amateur. And you'll see, hopefully you've got the sheets there. It's a rundown agenda of what I propose to do. So it's interactive, right? There's going to be a bit of music, a bit of comedy, quiz, so you can be involved as well. Concerning the history of Yiddish, Jews of the diaspora, as in not the Jews in Israel, but the rest of the world, of the Jews who were in Northern Europe, around about the 9th century, they were the Ashkenazi Jews of West Germany, Northern France. As opposed to other Jews in Europe from the Iberian Peninsula, if you're good at geography, Spain, Portugal, North Africa, and they were the, shout out, Sephardi Jews. But the Ashkenaz is Hebrew for Germany. And they acquired the Germanic language, Yiddish, but it was still written with Hebrew letters, so it was a kind of hybrid language. Sounded German, but with the Hebrew letters. And then you had the Crusades of the 11 and 1200s, and Jews were persecuted, not for the first and last time, and they started moving eastwards from Germany into which countries? You can tell I'm a teacher, I'm asking questions. Which countries do you think? Eastwards? Poland, Russia, Ukraine, Belarus. Extra point for Belarus.
Slovakia maybe, around there.
Well, a bit further north, and then the Baltics, Lithuania, Latvia. So Jews moved into that area. And that was okay, but then of course you had the Russian persecution around about the 1880s, known as the an extra point.
Oh, but she's another teacher.
Pogroms. So then Jews started to thought, I'm going to get out of here, and they would go to Britain, America. In fact, there's a kind of a line, because some would go to Hull. My father was from Hull, and some went a bit further to Leeds, and so maybe a bit further west to Manchester, a bit further west to Liverpool, and then a bit further to Dublin west, and then some went further west still to New York. So there's a kind of line of just going west and getting, hopefully trying to get away from the persecution. No. Go west. Yeah, it's not that interactive, Ruth. Just now, around this time, the 1880s, you had the first Yiddish newspapers. The first one, Der Polische Yid. What do you think that means? Der Polische Yid.
Polish Jews.
The little, yeah, it's like a diminutive, the little Polish Jew. 1884, edited by this chap Morris Winchevsky. And lots of Jews at the time, they were rather anarchic and radical and left-wing, and they were quite very active, subversive even. And then there was another newspaper, 1885, Der Arbeiter Freund. Any guesses? Der Arbeiter Freund. Yes, yes, the Workers' Friend in London, and then along with a writer called Eliyahu Wolf Rabinovitz. And these are radical anarchists. And these newspapers were, in a way, to bring Jewish anarchists together. I'm not sure how much they had sport and gossip and page 3 curls. It was like a good chance to bring Jewish anarchists together. And Winchevsky, like many of his contemporaries, ended up in New York. And in New York, Winchevsky, in 1897, founded what was became the largest Yiddish language newspaper, called Vorwärts. Vorwärts. Any guesses what that might mean? Vorwärts means, it sounds like the English word forward. So the idea of moving forward. And Winchevsky was also a great influence in the development of Yiddish poetry. And we have a poet in our midst, I'm sure we'll hear from later. There was another radical character, I'll just mention another one, with a great name, Rudolf Rocker. What a name. And he was a German, and he was a non-Jew. He came to London. He went briefly to Liverpool and set up a newspaper there in the 1898. There were only 8 editions. Back to London, he became the next editor of Arbiter Freund. And I imagine that because these anarchists were writing in Yiddish for Jews who spoke Yiddish, it was perhaps difficult for the authorities to understand Yiddish, and perhaps that was a good way to get the message across, almost like writing in code. Rudolf Rocker, he was very anti-war, and he was kind of a rocker. He was rocking the boat a bit with the authorities. He was arrested in 1915 and then deported to the Netherlands in 1980. He went to Germany. He ended up in America. He travelled around giving talks in English, Yiddish and German. He was anti-fascist, anti-racist, and an interesting character. The only Yiddish papers I know of today, well, Googling, I'm not sure it was extensive research, but there's 3 in New York, and all ultra-Orthodox, the Satmar Haredi, very ultra-Orthodox Jews, Satmar, apparently originated in Romania. 3 newspapers going to, there might be more, I found of 3. One called Die Zeitung. Any guesses what that might mean? Zeitung. Well, actually, it means the newspaper. A wonderful name. The one called Der Blatt. Der Blatt. By the way, I learnt German at school for 3 years in the grammar school, so it kind of gave me a little advantage in some Yiddish because, of course, so similar to German. Der Blatt, I think it means a leaf, but here, the sheet. And another one called Der Yid. Great imagination in these newspaper titles. The newspaper, the sheet, and the Jew. Wonderful names. Anyway, the last bit of history is, because I don't want to bore you, well, not boring you, but not too much history, but just the last thing is the fact that Yiddish is a dying language is encapsulated by these statistics that just before the Holocaust, 1930s, there were some 17 million Jews, of which 11 million spoke Yiddish, which is about 65%. And now, if you can believe Google/Wikipedia, there's just under 15 million Jews in the world. And apparently 250,000 speak Yiddish in Israel, about 250,000 speak Yiddish in New York, about 100,000 speak Yiddish elsewhere, 600,000, which works out at about 4% speaking Yiddish. So, now we have a little quiz. That's why, going interactive, press your little red button now. That's just a euphemism, Jeff, stop doing that. Now I'm going to split, it's going to be a split level quiz, because there are non-Jews here who won't be familiar with Yiddish. And I don't want to say Jews, non-Jews, but you know what I'm saying. If you're brought up in the culture of Yiddish and Yiddish parents, you'll know. So each question, I'm going to give 2. So I'm going to give the easier one. I don't mean to insult anyone's intelligence, because I didn't know what level to pitch it at, so do bear with me on this. So, 12 questions. First question, all you have to do, I'm going to give a Yiddish word, just write down what you think it means. So I'm going to give I'll just say A and B. So the A question is easier, the B question slightly harder. So you can answer whichever. So question 1, A, the easy one, bagel. Originally pronounced bagel.
It's in London.
Bagel, but bagel. And 1B is schnoz. So 1B is schnoz. In the answers, you've got 1 to 12.
Right.
Yeah, yeah.
So you want bagel?
So, no, you're not doing bagel. If you're good at Yiddish, you are the human dictionary.
Yeah.
You do the second one, schnoz. Yeah?
Okay. So I do
So it's a split level quiz. I hope this works. So number 2, the first one is kosher. What does kosher mean? But if that's too easy, the second one is ganef. Ganef. The meaning of ganef. So, as I say, if you're not familiar, do the easier one, kosher. Otherwise, most of the Jewish people here will do ganef instead. Is this clear? Are we okay? Over there?
Yeah.
I'm getting a blank look. I hope I'm... Okay. Number 3. The easy one, mazel tov. And there's a literal meaning, and then there's a usage meaning, if you know what I mean. Mazel tov. Number 3, the second one is fagula. Fagula. What do you think that means? Hope I'm not going too fast. Let me know if I'm going too fast or too slow. Are we okay? Number 4. There's always one. Number 4, the easy one, chutzpah. Chutzpah. And the other number 4 question is blintz. Blintz. What is not blitz, as in the war.
Not blinzer.
Blintz. Just blintz.
I don't know what that is.
You do. Blintz.
I don't.
Oh, a blinzer, if you want to call it. Because some of these words, because it's a transliteration, the spelling and pronunciation might vary. So blinzer, maybe blinzer. Number 5, the easier one is schlep. Oh, I hope it's easy. Because these are, the point is that words have been absorbed from Yiddish into the common vernacular, largely through television programs and films, and East End Jewish Cockney, and programs like Minder, or even they shoot the horses one. David Jason. Fools and Horses. Senior Moment. Programs like that have made us familiar with some of these Yiddish words. So number 5, schlep. The other number 5 is chochem. Excuse me? Chochem. Number 6, tochus. The easier one, tochus. Or tush. Tochus or tush. And the other one for number 6 is arain. Arain. A-R-E-I-N. Can I move on? Number 7. Fres is the easier one. I say easier, but a bit of guesswork here as to what you might do. Fres is the easier one. I say, sorry if it's difficult. And the other one for number 7 is vermischt. Vermischt.
It can be submished as well.
Submished, yes, submished as well. Number 8, the first one is spiel. Spiel, you may have heard. And the other one, for number 8, ballabuster. All these wonderful words, ballabuster. Great names, great words. Number 9, okay, we're keeping up. Number 9, klutz. Klutz is the first one for number 9. And number 9, pishy pesha.
Oh my God.
Pishy pesha. It's not a toilet problem. I'll give you a clue. It's nothing to do with that. Number 10. Listen, I always say with quizzes, if you don't know the answer, you're going to learn more. If you know every answer, you haven't learnt anything. So I'm putting a positive spin on this. If you get nothing right, you're going to learn more, you see. Number 10, nicht, is the first one. Nicht. Nicht. And the other one for number 10, Holishka. Holishka. Number 11, Schlemiel. The first one for 11 is Schlemiel. And the second one for number 11 is Kibitzer. Nothing to do with kibbutz. Kibitzer.
What was the first one?
Schlemiel.
A few idiots.
And number 12, which was interesting because I didn't know it was a Yiddish word, but you'll probably know this word, hopefully, is glitch. Glitch. Yeah, Yiddish word. You see? Oh, you can do it. Glitch. And the second one might be my favourite Yiddish word of all, verstunkene. Verstunkene. These words are so expressive, almost musical. Excuse me, those are. We're going to mark these quickly. You can mark your own. I'm going to trust you. There's no cash prizes anyway, so it doesn't matter. So, the answers. Number 1, bagel is like a dense, ring-shaped roll of bread, a bun. Schnoz, the nose. There was an entertainer, my dad used to do an impression of him. Schnozzle Durante. He had a big nose, Jimmy Durante. Sitting at my piano. Eric Morecambe did an impression with a plastic cup, and it looked like a big nose, so he sang with a plastic cup for the nose. If you remember that, Eric Morecambe. Number 2, kosher, satisfying the requirements of Jewish law. But then it's transmuted, words evolve, so now kosher can mean, oh, that's kosher, yeah, that's genuine, it's legitimate. You know, George Cole, he might try to sell a dodgy car. Oh no, it's kosher. And Ganef is a thief. Number 3, Mazel Tov, literally good luck, but we use it as congratulations. Mazel Tov. The other word, fagula. Anyone? Fagula? It's a little bird.
No, it's refers to.
It might refer to a little girl, a little bird like.
Yeah, it's usually to a little
So these
bird.
words have several meanings.
Yeah.
But another.
Stephen gay as well, apparently.
Well, I was just going to say, well interrupted, an extra point for Louise. Fagula also refers to a homosexual.
I never knew that, never heard
Yes.
that.
Number 4, chutzpah. Not that cheap. Chutzpah. What a chutzpah, cheek. The other one, blintz, or blintzer, is a kind of pancake. And I remember going to Simchas years ago, and my favourite was the blintz, the rolled up with the cheese and the sour cream. Oh,
Mrs. Broom's first.
I've just had this nostalgic tearful. I want a blintz for lunch. But anyway, moving on. Schlep, to drag, to carry, to schlep something heavy or to schlep yourself. And chochem, wise one. I looked it up as a wise man. Maybe chochmah might be a wise woman. Number 6. Pardon?
I've got chochem means like stupid idiot.
No.
This is usually said sarcastically.
Oh, if it said sarcastically.
Usually said sarcastically.
I know.
Chochem is wise.
It's never said to a person who's really clever. It's
No,
usually
I've
said
never,
sarcastically.
I've only ever heard it said like used as like silly.
Well, you should mix with more clever people.
Yeah.
Now, tochas is what you're all sitting on. Your backs, or tush, your bottom. Arain, anyone? Arain?
No, I didn't know that one.
To go away, like gay around.
Gay around.
No, it means, well, kind of the opposite. It means come in. Ein. Ein means in. Arain means come in.
Go away. Gay around, go away.
Well, unless that's some corruption, I don't know. But Arain,
That's the usual sense.
Yeah.
it's the evolution of language. It's an organic thing, so you can have half a point. Fres. Jews' favourite activity, eating, especially eating a lot. Number 7, the other one, vermischt. confused. Sumished as well. Confused. Number 8, spiel, to play. And I'm hoping some of the non-Jews got this. Spiel, or to give a spiel, like a salesman's pitch. Oh, it's a spiel.
It means gamble as well. You're a spieler, you're a gambler.
Spiel, gamble, yeah. And the other number 8, ballabuster. That's a great word. Ballabuster.
Big boss. It means like a big boss.
It's related to boss, but it's a,
It means you're in charge, you're a big boss.
a home builder. A woman who keeps a good home. Ballabuster. But it implies maybe she's the boss. She's running the home. So, yeah. Number 9, klutz. Clumsy person, more. Clumsy person. And the other number 9. Anyone know Pishy Peshy?
Card game. Card game.
What is it? Card game.
Those two.
My grandmother thought. Now it's mentioned.
Number 10. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Emily, thank you. Nicht. Nicht means nothing. And the other number 10, Holushka, is stuffed cabbage. Number 11, Schlemiel.
Idiot.
Sorry?
No.
I can't hear.
She thought niche meant thank you.
No, but I suppose that'd be like a danker or something like that.
It means no, really.
Nicht is no or nothing.
Yeah.
Have you got anything? Nicht, nothing. Holushka stuffed cabbage. 11, Schlemiel.
Idiot.
Is like a stupid, awkward or unlucky person. What a Schlemiel. Derogatory. Kibitzer.
Is it someone who talks a lot?
Don't know that.
In a way, kind of interfering, chipping away, interfering. Yeah, that kind of thing. And glitch. Glitch is a glitch in the computer game. A sudden malfunction, something goes wrong, yeah. And my favourite word, verstunkener. Huh? Stinking. So, you can give yourself a score out of 12. Who got 6 or more? Who got half 6 or more? Well, who got 6? Who got 7? Or more? 8 or more? 9 or more? Wow, brilliant. 10, anyone got 10 or more? How many? 10. Brilliant, well done. Okay, now, as you can see, a little something about mum and dad, bless them. My mum's mum came from Riga, which is the capital of Latvia. Her real name, I didn't know this until I was much older, was Amelia Ratut. Beautiful name, Amelia Ratut. But we had just called her Bobby. And I thought that was her real name, Bobby. Now at the time, in the mid-60s, I still am a very keen, God help me, Man United fan. One of my heroes, Bobby Charlton. I went to see him for 1965, Lord Best Charlton, the Holy Trinity. Bobby Charlton, a hero, he scored goals and won the World Cup and the European Cup. And here's my grandma, looking like Leonid Brezhnev, this thick-set woman with tree-trunk legs, who I didn't really understand because she couldn't speak much English. And she was called Bobby. Bobby Charlton. I mean, there's no way she's going to be running up and down kicking a football. And I didn't really understand. We used to go every Saturday to this big bank house next to the Crumpsall Shul on Cheetham Hill. Bank house, I think it's flats now. And it was a big old dark house that smelled very musty, and Mum and Bobby would talk. I didn't really understand. I think it was Yinglish, a mixture of Yiddish and English called Yinglish. And it was a long, boring afternoon. The only entertainment was fighting with my brother. And I waited till 4:45 for the football result to come up with the teleprinter, and that was my highlight. And I didn't really understand, but then I realised they were talking this strange mixture of Yiddish and English, and maybe a bit of Latvian thrown in, I don't know. Now, my mother would use Yiddish words, and a lot of the words were to do with chicken, as I remember. There was a fliggle, chicken wing, polky, the thigh, and we use it now. You might say, oh, look at the polkies on her, or him, let's not be sexist, the thighs. The puppick was my favourite thing. Oh, I loved it, and I wanted the puppick in the soup, and I didn't always get it. You can't always get your own way. I didn't know for years what it was, but I still believe it's part of the stomach, puppick. And there was schmaltz, chicken fat, schmaltz, and that's also changed in meaning now, so that can become over-sentimentality, a schmaltzy film, too much greasy, fatty. And gribbinus, you know gribbinus? It's a bit like the equivalent of pork cracklings, and you fry up the chicken skin with maybe a bit of onion and schmaltz, and it's gribbinus. Very unhealthy diet, Jewish food, all the fat and the salt and the sugar. Terrible. And Helzel. And I had this mad uncle. Everyone's got a mad uncle. And we used to go to these simpers. And he said, that was his one line, it was a one-trick pony. He said, to all the kids, he'd say, do you want to be a member of the Helzel Club? The Helzel Club. I'll give you a badge for the Helzel Club. And we thought, okay. I never knew what he was talking about. But Helzel is it's the equivalent of Scottish haggis. It's like sort of skin stuffed with entrails and bits and bobs. That was Helzel. Wonderful Yiddish stuff. Very unhealthy. Then my dad, bless him, my dad was an entertainer for about 60 years. He was an actor, singer, comedian. He loved Yiddish. He was a great fan of Leo Rosten, who was a great chochem in Yiddish. And Dad would bring Yiddish into his songs, into his jokes. And I remember one word, nash. You know nash? Like nosh, meaning food, a snack. Every Friday, watching telly, and at some point Friday evening, me, my brother, my sister, would go, any nash, like that, any nash. And it was like we were fledgling little birds in the nest. Nash, nash. And Dad would have to go out to his secret store of chocolate and then just placate us with some chocolate just to shut us up. So Friday night was Nash night. Now Dad would do parodies of well-known songs. And one was a parody of, you remember Terry Wogan had a hit in 1978. Terrible song, terrible delivery, but it was Terry Wogan, so it was fine. And what was the song?
The Floral Dance.
The Floral Dance. So Dad did a version called the Horror Dance. And that's his original manuscript. That was from about 40 years ago, the Horror Dance. So I've just taken out a few lines, so pardon me. Not a great instrumentalist, not a great singer, but, and I'm going to stop and ask you, so. Food was stuffed, school food was scoffed, and the drink was quaffed, and speeches were made while most of us schloffed. Schloffed meaning slept. And the music had such a Lebediger beat. Lebediger beat. What, Lebediger, anyone? From Leben meaning life, so Lebediger is lively. Lebediger beat. Even the shamus was tapping his feet. Shamus is another word for anything. Another word for shamus? Like a warden in the shul who does different things. Mr. Schmaltz, he was all afire. Mr. Schmaltz, it's a comedy name. It just shows Mr. Schmaltz, a bit like Mr. Bean, a comedy name. She was shockling things she'd never shockled before. Now, shockling is, it means rocking. So, you know, especially the frummers, they shockle backwards and forwards, shockling. So she was 84, she's shockling things she never shockled before. Then that Shikanik, Mocky Miller, Shikanik, drunkard. And the suffix nick is a Yiddish suffix added on. And you know the word beatnik in the 60s? And and that nick was borrowed from Yiddish. And even Sputnik, the Russian Sputnik, it means traveller. So that nick, so you've got words like refusnik, kibbutznik, so that nick at the end. So you had then that shikanik mocking miller started singing Having a Gilla. And Having a Gilla, of course, do you know what it means literally, Having a Gilla? It means let us rejoice. It's a song that was composed 1918 for the Balfour Declaration of Israel. And it's now sung at weddings, Simcha's celebration. So that, well, that was a little tribute to my dad. Bless him. Now, thank you. Oh, thank you. And now I'd like to introduce you to Charlie Klutz. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name's Charlie Klutz, a Jewish comedian. I'm not very funny, but I don't care. Now, my wife and I, we came in, we dragged ourselves here on our bottoms to get here today. And it took us a long time. Now, who's the world's maddest businessman? Alan Meshuggah. Which is the cheekiest football team in the world. Tottenham Hotspur. Now, when does your car... Oh, I should say, by the way, just to give you a fighting chance with some of these, Vosht is a kind of processed meat, a bit like salami, remember that. Gefilte is a kind of minced fish. Schwitz, when it's hot and sweaty, is schwitzy. And kvetch, to kvetch is to complain. So, too strong this. When does your car smell of meat? When it's just been washed. What kind of cigarettes do fish smoke? Gefilte tipped. Hey, you can laugh at this one, Steve, don't shake your head. My wife, she can't even make dumplings for soup. I can hardly believe it. Sorry. Which is the hottest country in the world? Switzerland! Come on! Now, can you believe it? I've been to Tesco nearly 40 times this week. I'm going to write a book about it. I'm going to call it The 39 Schleps. And finally, you'll be glad to hear, finally, I made this tomato sauce and I gave it out to friends and they thought it was terrible. They kept complaining. So I'm going to call it tomato ketchup. I've been Charlie Klutz and you've been whoever you are. Thank you very much. Don't ring us, Charlie. And by the way, thanks for the hat, Dad. This is Dad's hat. You can tell I liked it, can't you? Now then, a little bit on pronunciation. Are we okay for time? Yeah. Now, pronunciation, you probably know, there's a lot of ch. A lot of ch in you. Very good for getting rid of Qatar. There's a lot of ch. As in Scottish, Loch Ness. Or even Scousers. We've got a bona fide Scouser here. Shichin. Oh, sorry, Shichin. So that ch sound is very prominent. Words like, can I be divisive in a sense? So any non-Jews, if I can say it that way, or anyone not familiar with Yiddish, do you know any words that have got a ch? Any words that have got a ch? Just asking anyone, just in case you might have picked up any. Or anyone, words with ch, such as challah, a loaf of bread, challah. Chanukah. Chochem has got two ch's in it to really get rid of the phlegm. Brocha, a prayer. Another sound familiar in Yiddish is, of course, oi. Not just oi, as in toy and boy, but oi. Words like broigers, oi gewalt. And Leo Roston here, now, he's got over 20 uses of oi, which I'm not going to go on. So, for example, contentment. How we enjoyed that lunch. Oi. Relief. Oi, she's home safe. Revulsion. You expect me to eat that? Oi. Or if you're in awe of something, he actually scored 99% on that test. Oi. Pain, moderate pain. One moment, dear. Moderate pain, it says that. Oi, that hurt. So all these uses of oi, a bit like the word new, you know, new. These even words like me and fe will come to. Just one little word, almost just a sound, can have different meanings depending on the way it's said, depending on the context. Sorry.
No, say you say you've got 99%, you're a real Jewish person, wouldn't you say no, you'd say, why didn't you get 100?
Yeah, that's a good point. Then you've got the way consonants are put together, which we don't have in English. So a lot of them with SH. So you've got shp, such example, spiel. Spiegel. Spiegel means clean. You've got SHT, st, word beginning st, such as stum as in quiet, or stunk. Steif, if someone's steif, they're a bit offhand, they're not talking. SHM, schma, schmock, schmerel, schmet, yeah. SHV, as in schwitz. SHL, schlep, schloch, schlof. You've got TS put together, beginning of a word, such as sorrows, meaning troubles, having troubles, sorrow. And simmers, carrot simmers, a kind of stew with vegetables. And KV together, kvetch, kvelling, with pride over your child, kvelling. And something on gestures reminds me of the joke. Why have Jews got short necks? Someone ask me that question.
Why have Jews got short necks?
Should I know? So, the gestures, the Jewish shrug. And then you've got fe, an expression of disgust. Fe. Me is like indifference. Me. Someone tells you something, you're not impressed. Me. So, you've got the intonation, you've got the gestures. It's all part of the Yiddish heritage. And finally, section F, Theodore Bickel. Again, going back to my dad, he had lots of records a few records lying around. Old record player. This was before we had the internet and MP3s and all that kind of stuff. So I used to play what few records he had, and one of them was by Theodore Bickel, Yiddish songs. And one of my favourites was Begelach. Now, I'm going to ask you all to read out. Can you see on the words there? I'm actually going to sing this shortly. But those on the left, where there's a line, and there's 8 lines of the song where that black line is. Begins with Koift minor Begelach, yeah? Because that's the bit we're going to sing a bit. So I thought if everyone reads that aloud now, so at least you're all having a go at reading it, pronouncing it. So, shall I read it first, or should we all do it together? So you've got Koift minor Begelach, Frischinke Begelach, Nu Koifsche Giefke Koift, Ich darf das Geld. Ich bin ein Verlorener und ein Verleurener, eine Vernadnitzer der Auf der Welt. And I don't know what all that means. I know Geld is money, Welt is world, but I can't pretend to understand all that. But now, technology. Let's just see. So the beginning of this song is quite sort of poignant, and it's quite evocative of the shtetl and the way the violin comes in. It's rather beautiful. And then it picks up pace, and we're going to try and join in the bits you've just read out. And if we've got time, the song is about 3 minutes, then we can join in for the other bit on the other side with where the black line is. So if you want, by all means join in if you want to. So, why has it gone to Stephen Wilson? I had Theodore Bickel. Here we are. Let's go for this. Quiet start. No.
Frische Bacon, Koifsche Begelach. Es riecht sich von die Nacht. Ich geh ja rum verschmalt. Arois getrieben mich, und mit uns. Kleider zerrissene, nicht kein gewaschene, Arois gematterte,
All together now.
meine
Begala, fischige Begala.
Gottchen Gischer Gott, ich darf das gern. Ich bin ein neuer Mann und ein Verleurer. Aber wenn man nicht sein, dann heute Herz. Mein Tate schickert noch.
We're all right to carry on. We're
We're
okay to carry on. End of the song.
Die Schwester hat und ist mit sich allein. In Stub ist groß die Neu, ich doch kein Stück Bräu. Und so es mit singt
Sorrows, troubles, sorrows, troubles. All together now. Da Begala, hey sinke Begala.
meine Egela
That's my eyes.
verbrennt. Oi, 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 leitala, geht euch verteiltala. Und das ist alles, was ich Gott gedenkt. Nu koimsche Begala, die letzte Begala. Man denkt in Deutsche sich schon bald nicht tot. Verschlaft die Jengala, guck mich ein Jengala. Koimt ab der Begala, bei mir Roto. Verschlaft die Jengala, guck mich ein Jengala. Koimt ab der Begala, bei mir Roto. Begala, Hex, Begala. Ich, Hex,
Thank you very much.
Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Louise. Denise and I have been running the Alibi group. We've created this book. I want to introduce the ladies from the Alibi group. They are embarrassed. Ruth Davidson, Diane Dreyer, Carol, who's coming but she's not quite here yet, Linda, who's on holiday, Hilary, Jackie, Ruth, there you are, Ruth, Julie, where are